of this movie couldn't be better.
This is providential.
It's
very providential. I mean, people are really rethinking abortion. Testimony to, I mean, there's so much to it, we don't have the time to go into it in detail, but we will in further discussions. But not only does it reveal what abortion is, and it reveals the heartlessness of the abortion industry, and it reveals the ambivalence of the abortion providers, but you know what it reveals too? What approach does the pro-life movement take to ending this? And of course, that's where you know your character comes in, and the reality of what 40 Days for Life has done. And you know, I sat through that movie a number of times thinking about the early days,
right?
The conversations we had.
And you've been to that abortion facility.
Yeah, I sure have. You brought me there, exactly.
Yeah.
And in fact, Abby talks about that when she saw me out the window.
Yeah,
right?
she saw.
Just
somewhere you're in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. right. But you know, we think back to those early days, and we said, remember, you and I were discussing this. We're onto something here.
Yeah.
I said something like we're sitting on a powder keg or something. When
yes.
We were talking about bringing 40 Days national.
Yes, and it went. And you said, I think that this will give people an avenue to catch wildfire, and that's, by the grace of God, exactly what happened, because it was an invitation, and it transcended politics. You know, most of the growth of 40 Days for Life was during President Obama, you know, and it was just an invitation for this goes on in your neighborhood.
Right.
And thank God we have the right and the freedoms in our country to go out there and to do something about it, and do so lovingly. And
exactly.
They did a great job of showing that in the movie.
Exactly. The love came forth in the family. Abby had the support of the family.
Yes.
I mean, how many times in that film Doug says to her, "Oh, I love you so much. I love you so much."
Yeah.
Even in the context of telling her that he hated her work.
Yeah, and I never knew that. I assumed Abby's parents and her husband loved abortion and loved Planned Parenthood, and she was the hero of the family. And it really shows you never know what's going on behind the scenes in these people's lives. This boils down to natural law and conscience, and for her, she couldn't take it anymore.
That's right. As we've always said, you know, human nature, you know, doesn't get tired of saving lives, but it does get tired of taking them. And that's what we saw.
It's so true. And as you know, and so many of the folks out there know, working in an abortion industry, being in an abortion facility, having an abortion is a living hell. And they really bring that out in the movie. And,
right.
For better and for worse, the movie's accurate.
It's accurate.
And that makes it tough to watch, and it makes it inspirational, but it is accurate, and that's one of the reasons it's seen so much success.
That's right.
Despite sort of this media blackout that we've seen, it's been very successful, and I think its impact is going to be, for the pro-life movement, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're in the middle of the spring campaign. I want to bring Matt into this too. Matt, you're chairman of the board of 40 Days, and you guys are in the middle of the spring campaign now. I should say we all are. How's it going, and what are your thoughts as the movie's been released now?
It's going great. I got the chance to visit Australia. We go there about every 5 years because, as some of you may know, it's quite a long way from America, 2 days on an airplane. But they have hundreds, thousands of participants all across their country. They're fighting buffer zones. They're talking about this movie. I just got back from the New England, which in many ways, Father, as you know, is a dark place to be, especially if you're unborn. And they were talking about it, and so glad. But, you know, one of the things that everybody brought up to me was that this movie will come and it will raise the consciousness of America and the world, but there won't be a movie next year like this. Maybe never again. But we will be out there on the street.
But we'll be there, yeah.
And that's why I think what you said, and I told Chuck and Carrie at the March for Life, I said, you know what's so important about this movie, I think, just to one guy in the movement, is that it's love from beginning to end. So it does show the horrors of actually 2 abortions.
Yes.
For the first time. But even with the parents' love and the husband's love, it took the love of the pro-lifers, in this case 40 Days for Life, but many others out on the street, And look what happens. We're the only country in the world where you can go outside, besides once in a while, you can go outside and state your views, even if unpopular, without fear of reprisal. And if you do that, it took a dozen years for you, look what happens. And so in the end, this is a great victory over the devil. Because that's, I think, what we're doing this, to defeat the devil and evil. What doctor would spend $500,000 in 12 years to kill people instead of save them? So we're doing it to defeat the devil. And when she walked out and said, I need help, there was no place for help at Planned Parenthood. There was no place for help anywhere except for in your organization, in 40 Days for Life, and so many others.
Right.
And that's where the love is. And so I think that ultimately this is a movie about good versus evil. And like we know will happen, good won. And that's why it will prevail, because next year we're going to be on the street, and the year after until abortion ends.
Until it ends, which it will. Well, I want to thank the both of you. We've been with you from the beginning. We'll continue to be with you as we go across the finish line, which I don't think is as many years away as people might imagine.
No, and we mentioned the timing of the movie, and people are praying more, they're fasting more, and they're showing up.
Yeah.
And with these wonderful pregnancy centers across the country, abortion is ending.
It is ending. It is ending. And thanks to you, brothers and sisters, for what you're doing to make it end. Continue to stand with us at Priests for Life, at 40 Days for Life, and in the entire pro-life movement. And we'll certainly be talking to you a lot more as we unpack the contents of this film and show you ways to bring it to more and more people. Shawn Carney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Father. God bless everyone.
But you know what? When you and I take up this call and we talk about abortion, if we speak about it in church, we're told we're too political. If we speak about it in the political arena, we're told we're too religious. If we speak about it in the world of the media, it's too disturbing. In the world of business, it's too distracting. In the world of education, it's too controversial. In the streets, it's too disruptive. So abortion, if abortion is wrong, where do we go to say so? We go into the churches, we go into politics, into the media.